Guys, King of Charms here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today, for those of you that have been watching, and for those of you who have been scouring the social media verse of Pokemon Go PvP, it has been discovered of the presence of an actual god. A god amongst gods, a god beyond gods, a god that transcends all gods. Sorry, not talking about Lord Bidoof, I know, but Lord Bidoof is the god of gods, and the god cannot be slayed, nor can this god. However, we are not talking about Bidoof or this god. We are talking about Eternatus Eternamax. This extremely destructive, and many of you have probably played Sword and Shield already and made it to the end, so you fought this thing at one another. If you haven't, spoiler, this thing is literally the most powerful Pokemon in the Pokemon universe. Not even Arceus can stand up to its bravery or its power, and it's actually stronger than any Mega in the entire game, which is actually pretty nuts. It's stronger than Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, Mega Mewtwo X and Y, by the way. And literally, like I mentioned, no Mega or Primal form or anything beyond that form, even Shaman or Centipede Legs, Altered, no matter what form you want to do, this Pokemon is the most powerful Mon in the game. Sporting a CP of...
Scouters say about his power level. It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
Yes, Nappa, it is over 9,000. I've always wanted to use that scene for a video, and this is perfect timing. Perfect freaking timing, oh my god, it's a great time to be an anime nerd. Anyways, as you see here, Eternatus Eternamax was mined by the Pokeminers. Please follow them on Twitter, I put their socials on the description. But they give us all this great data, and as you see here, its stats are absolutely broken. I wasn't kidding when I said this thing was absolutely more powerful than any Mega in the current game right now in the foreseeable future. As you see here, Eternatus Eternamax has a base defense and base stamina of 505 and 5452. This thing is absolutely nuts. That's basically what I'd say. Its base attack is 251, which is still on the high side. Mewtwo's pretty high, but Mewtwo's is higher, but it's not that high. Like, it's not far from Mewtwo's. And with its defense and base stamina that high, it's ridiculously strong. As you see here, its max CP does in fact max out at over 9,000 at level 50. In other words, this thing is probably going to be a real pain when it comes out in raids, and it's going to be a real pain when you face it in Open Masters or Open Ultra League, because this thing is just going to be absolutely broken. Actually, it'll be broken in Master League Classic too. So, if it's allowed in Go Battle League, which probably will, then it's probably going to break the entire game. Or if you have this, you're probably going to win all your matches. Now, the reason why it's also super viable is not just because of the fact that it has ridiculously high stats, which is the first denominator. The second denominator is really good moves. It has two of the best moves in the game. Dragon Tail was just recently buffed, and Poison Jab was buffed as well. With having Dragon Tail and Poison Jab, two extremely powerful fast moves, you have to have powerful charge moves too. It has that in the option of Cross Poison, Dragon Pulse, Flamethrower, and Hyper Beam. So Dragon Pulse on its own, if you want to get that stab point, that's fine. If you want to resist, it has coverage against steel types because Dragon Tail and Poison is resisted. So it even has coverage against that in the form of Flamethrower. So if you really hate Melmetal, guess what? You're going to burn it to death with this Eternatus Eternamax. So Eternatus Eternamax is going to absolutely melt you. At the same time, it also has Cross Poison. Cross Poison is essentially a Night/Clone. In other words, you have a 12.5% chance of boosting if it lands, and it only costs 35 energy. Combined in a ridiculously good moveset, and not only that, it has a coverage move with ridiculous stats, and you have God. An absolute freaking God. Like, it's not even like Bidoof joking level God. No, this is a God. An absolute God. Alright, so as I always say, please consider contributing to PvPoke.com. So this is Dragagel's profile. They're both Dragon and Poison type Pokemon, so both Eternatus and the Eternamax version are both the same type as well as Dragagel. It's a Poison Dragon. So, as you see here, you're weak to Dragon, Ground, Ice, and Psychic. Things like Earthquake, Avalanche, of course, Confusion users, Dragon Breath, and Dragon Tail will do super effective damage against you. However, it does resist Grass, Water, Poison, Fire, Fighting, Electric, Bug. Actually, it double resist Grass, so you have 7 resistances for 4 weaknesses, where it's actually really good. Being able to take neutral damage from Charm because of the fact you have that Poison typing along with Dragon typing is really freaking good. However, the fact that Eternatus Eternamax has so much defense and HP, it would probably still run over anything it faces. To put in perspective, here's pvpoke.com as far as stats goes. As you see here, we got Lord Arceus. Lord Arceus stat product's pretty freaking high, right? But its CP isn't over 9,000. Also, the thing about it is Eternatus Eternamax has more defense than Shuckle. Yes, you don't effle with Shuckle, but, you know, Shuckle as defensive and as thick as that shell is, boy, you don't have such a big booty when it comes to a giant meteorite dragon thingy that's gonna destroy the entire world. Eternatus Eternamax has more defense than a Shuckle and more HP than a Blissey. Yes, Blissey has a really high... Yes, Blissey has the highest stamina stat in the game, which is why it's such a pain in the butt to kill when you play it in gyms. However, Eternatus Eternamax has a 500 plus stamina stat. Blissey has 429. So it has more stats than the highest defense and the highest HP stat Pokemon in the game, which by the way exists in the Game Master. So, would it actually do really well? So how would Eternatus Eternamax do in the current meta, even if it were released now? Well, it would essentially, you could still use it in Open Ultra League. So in Open Ultra League, it would have a hard time against Cresselia, Galarian Stunfisk, etc. However, the fact that it has Flamethrower might give you some play against Galarian Stunfisk, of course, Registeel. Cross Poison and Dragon Tail is a great moveset on its own. It would be able to do pretty well against things like Talonflame because it does resist Incinerate. Dragon Tail would also allow you to do really well against things like Giratina Altered. Of course, there's a lot of meta for Open Ultra League that could stop Eternatus Eternamax just because the limit's 2,500, but it could still possibly have some play just because it has such a great moveset and it has really great defensive stats. As far as Open Master League goes, or even Master League Classic, at level 40 it maxed out at 8,000 some change. But the only threat that this Eternatus Eternamax would actually face would actually only be probably either Melmetal. I would say it would be Melmetal or Groudon. So Groudon would give you a hard time because Earthquake would do a lot of damage, but because its defense is so high, it would probably take 2 or 3 Earthquakes before you could kill an Eternatus Eternamax. That's just because its defense, its offensive stat and its defense is also ridiculously high. Combine those 2 stats together, I invented the Blissey Timeout strat and the Blissey Hyper Beam strat. I can tell from experience that anything with 429, even if it's hit by a super effective attack like Focus Blast, can still live 2 nuke moves. Possibly 3 with Eternatus Eternamax's stats. So, Groudon could still give Groudon a run from its money if it's rocking Dragon Tail and Flamethrower. It would resist Cross Poison, but it also has a chance to boost. So, if it boosts, a boosted Dragon Tail from Eternatus Eternamax would do a ton of damage. And it would suck a lot for you. Well, for your opponent if it happened to them. But in Master League Classic, it would still be a beast. Even in Open Master League, it would be an absolute destroyer. Especially since even Master League Groudon would take a lot of a hit just because Lugia is just so strong in this meta. So things like Melmetal and Dialga. Groudon would still be very powerful. However, it drops in the totem pole a lot just because of the giant, the things like Mewtwo, Yveltal, Togekiss. Gyarados, more accessible mons like Gyarados and Dragonite would do extremely well against Eternatus Eternamax. Well, would do well against Groudon. So Groudon actually loses more value in level 50 Master League. In level 50 Master League, Eternatus Eternamax would absolutely annihilate the most of the meta. You could actually even use Poison Jab just to take out Togekiss if you want to. In other words, unless it's Mewtwo, which is probably the only threat in here, and possibly Dragon Breath users, but again, because it has so much bulk, it would live. If you outbulk something, what outbulks you will likely kill you before you kill it. Especially if both of you are super effect damage. For example, Zekrom and Reshiram, even though they have Dragon Breath, if you rock in Dragon Tail, you'll do super effect damage, so you'll likely KO them before they KO you. And even if it was rocking Poison Jab, if it boosts, or it can spam Cross Poison. So it's such a great mon. In other words, Eternatus Eternamax would wipe out The only meta where it would be iffy would probably be Ultra League. Other than that, you'll probably see a lot more Mewtwo's in Master League and Master League Classic just so you could side strike Eternatus Eternamax to death. Possibly. Just because it's so bulky. Possibly. And that's GG's. This Eternatus Eternamax is... Well, you already saw my babbling about it, but basically, no matter what releases in the meta, it's going to be one of the most powerful mons in, of course, Open Master League and Master League Classic. There's not much that can stop it. It has such a ridiculous amount of bulk that just having one will automatically put you at a huge advantage. And especially if you have the level 4, even if it's level 40 or level 50, despite what it is, great moveset, absolutely broken in every department, except typing, but even the typing is actually pretty good. Which is why you see Dragagle XL running over Ultra Premier Cup because of Dragon Tail's buff. Well, guess what? You have this is essentially Dragagle on steroids. That's basically what it is. But as you see here, we're probably not going to see it for the next, probably I would say 3 years, maybe 3 years. They're releasing Zaki and Zamazenta early. So they might have an idea for their crown forms next year. So in probably 1 or 2 years, you can probably expect to see Eternatus Eternamax into play. I knew it would be broken. I just didn't know it'd be this broken. So this is probably, so for everyone boycotting Niantic, if you want an easy road to legend, this is probably going to be your best friend. Or just everyone climbing the leaderboard during Master League time, unless they make changes to Go Battle League by then. This thing will definitely be on their team. Maxed out 100% and super, super, super overpowered. So, if you had any hope, this thing's going to take away all of your hopes and dreams. Unless you're the one using it, of course. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There is a lot of stuff that was data mined, so you can expect more. But I definitely want to put this one out here first because the world is coming to an end when Eternatus Eternamax comes out. Go Battle League will be obsessively broken if it is not already. And GG's. That's all I have to say. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, look upcoming for more videos on all of the Gen 8 data. Make sure you give Pokemoners a follow because without them, we wouldn't be able to do all this. And of course, ppoke.com. And if you do me a favor, and please like and subscribe, it's totally free and really helps out the channel. You can easily subscribe by putting your mouse on the bottom right box. See the little box to subscribe right there. Put your mouse over it, sub-tab will pop up, and you can easily subscribe from there. Really appreciate my subscribers right now. My current subscribers, and again, liking and subscribing is totally free. Really helps the channel. Do appreciate you guys already subbed. Good luck in the Go Battle League sets. Look forward to this absolute destruction of God called Eternatus Eternamax to enter Go Battle League and absolutely destroy our wallets. Well, your wallets if you still play, because I'm probably not going to spend any money on this thing. I'm just going to watch it destroy everybody else's lives. GG's, and good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!